We've all been waiting a long time for this, and it's finally here. Very excited. This is going to be simply an unboxing video. I'll be taking a closer look at the hardware, comparing it to the Switch 1, giving my impressions of the new hardware and how it's different in future videos. This is just simply looking at the packaging and getting everything out of the packaging. So, I won't be describing what we're looking at here. Instead, I thought I would tell how my pre-order experience went. Tell the story of that and the story of midnight launch event pickup. So, I live on the West Coast. So, pre-orders were, they began midnight Eastern, which was 9 p.m. my time, which I'm very thankful for. And I didn't do anything I didn't have like a battle station set up with multiple devices trying to pre-order. I just was sitting at my computer with, an eye on social media and news to know what was going on, and then tabs open for the stores. I tried Walmart and Target, and the Target website never worked for me. It was constantly looping. It just didn't work. Walmart, I got the Switch into my cart, and every time I tried to purchase, it just didn't work. So I kept trying those, waiting for Best Buy to go live, because famously Best Buy pre-orders went live maybe, what was it, half an hour later than the other stores. Honestly, Best Buy was my preferred choice. I'd rather pick up at Best Buy just for travel convenience for me. And so when I have an old Best Buy account, and so I was posted up at Best Buy already signed in, and or so. Trying not to exaggerate. I think it really was 30 minutes. Something like that. And then it just booted me out, which, looking at social media, a lot of people got kicked at the same time I did. I went right back and got right back in line, online, and waited. And then I think about 20 minutes later, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, all of a sudden it went to a white screen, or like it looked like it refreshed. But then it asked me to sign in again, which at that point I thought it was kicking me again, or that they were glitching like Target was. Thought something was wrong, but because I knew I was already signed in. But I signed in again, and the moment it finished signing me in, it showed that the Switch 2 was in my cart. So I immediately tried to buy it with Apple Pay, because I figured Apple Pay would be faster. It wouldn't rely on Best Buy's payment platforms. It would be on Apple's. I've used Apple Pay before at Best Buy successfully. And so I tried Apple Pay a couple times and it didn't work. And so I thought, maybe it really was, like when it signed me back in and showed me something was in the cart, maybe it was broken. But I went ahead and tried just using the credit card I had saved there. I had a credit card set up there, obviously. And when I tried that, a notification popped up on my phone saying a potential fraudulent purchase had just occurred, and it asked if I wanted to allow the purchase. And of course, while every step of the way is happening, you're thinking, someone else is snatching this console out of my cart. But anyway, I allowed it. That was instant. And then I retried the purchase, and it went through. Console secured. And then I had to get back in line for the Pro Controller, which I don't unbox in this video. We'll look at that separately. But I got back in line for the Pro Controller. Maybe a 15-minute wait. And funny enough, I tried paying with the credit card through Best Buy's payment platforms, because that's the only way I could pay for the console. But it didn't work for the Pro Controller, and only Apple Pay worked. So, what do you know? So that was pre-order. Not bad. Obviously a little weird, but not bad. I thought about pre-ordering at GameStop, but the day that the pre-orders went up, I was at work. So that was like that was going to be my Hail Mary. Go during my lunch break, during pre-order day, and see if they had one. out. The Switch 1 pre-order was a lot simpler. All I did when the Switch 1 pre-orders went live was I went to Best Buy and it was available immediately and I pre-ordered immediately. It was very simple. I'm guessing, my uneducated guess is that it was the Wii U era and the Switch demand was low. And it was just us Nintendo nerds trying to get in there day one. So we got in there pretty easily back then. But this was a little different. So, midnight event. Again, I am West Coast. So, midnight event for me was actually 9 p.m. Thankfully. Oh man, I'm so thankful. And my wife actually called the store for me a couple days before the night of June 4th for pickup. And someone there said that the pickup event begins at 8 p.m., even though pickups begin at 9. But they have an event beginning at 8, and they recommend getting there 2 hours before 8, so 6 p.m. That sounded a little crazy to me, so I kind of split the difference, and I showed up I didn't split the difference at all. Actually, who am I kidding? I showed up after 8. By the time I got there, it was 8:20. And the line for pre-order pickups, because there was a separate line for trying to purchase in store that night, but just for pre-order pickups, by the time I got there at 8:20, the line was about the length of a city block. I'm a city boy. I live in a city, so I measure distances in blocks. So it was about the length of a block, the line, but there was a lot of people like sitting with chairs and kind of spread out, so it wasn't a packed line. It was a spread out line. And so not bad. And at 9, so over the course of the next 40 minutes, the line had tripled. So I think my timing was pretty good. I didn't wait too long, but at 9, the doors opened and the line condensed a good bit. So we moved forward a bit. And the first pre-orders were picked up and walking out of the store like 5 minutes later. So, but it took just over an hour, even though I was pretty far up on the line, for me to get into the store. There was only 2 registers ringing up pre-order pickups, which seemed weird to everyone in the pre-order pickup line once we got in the store. It was kind of slow going. But they did have tables full of accessories and games that you could just grab and add to your pre-order. They would check you out with your pre-order if you wanted. And they did have a single copy of Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, and had it in my hand and looked at it for a while. And then I was like, I came here to pick up what I planned to purchase. We will get Rune Factory at a later time, preferably from my local independent video game shop. I like to buy what I can there. They obviously didn't have consoles for pre-order, but they are carrying some games and accessories, so I want to buy my games there later, but it was very tempting to come home with Rune Factory. But, yeah, I finally got my items picked up, headed on home, and showed my wife and my daughter the boxes before I opened them, and they were surprised with how small and heavy the Switch 2 box was. And my wife and I, because we're olds, just paused for a moment and thought how crazy it would have been to hand this console to my younger self, and explained the visuals of the games that you play, how small the console is and how advanced the technology is. Would have blew our little minds. But then obviously had to make these unboxings after that, which I excitedly did. And then at that point my daughter was asleep, so I couldn't show her the unboxed console because it was late at night. You can see on my watch here in this video that it's almost midnight, or it is midnight by the end of the video. I don't know. But showed my wife the unboxed console, and she was immediately impressed. Which, like I said at the beginning of this video, we'll talk more about impressions in comparisons to the Switch 1 in another video. And I'll include my wife's comments there. But after that, even though it was however late it was, very late, I had to hook it up to the big TV in the living room. We have a nice TV, nice setup in the living room, and I had to set it up and play some games. I had to. I absolutely had to. That was not an option. It was non-optional. It had to be done. setup transferred from my old Switch. And the first game I tried was Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. And it looks phenomenal. The second game I tried was Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance. Because you know me. And then I played Mario Kart World for a couple hours. And just had a lot of fun. Lots of smiles. There I was up late by myself in the living room, smiling like a kid, playing Mario Kart on the new Nintendo console.